This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for Monday, July 15th, 2024. This meeting will be conducted in the traditional in-person format here at City Hall. For convenience, the public may virtually follow the meeting using the go-to access information found on our website. Public comment will be accepted this evening at the meeting, but not virtually. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Ashour.
He is excused this evening.
Alderman Augustinovich.
Here.
Alderman Berry.
Here.
Alderman Davalos.
Here.
Alderman Kruckenberg.
Here.
Alderman Lockett.
Here.
Alderman Widener.
Here.
And Alderman Wilkie.
Here.
Thank you, Julie. Would you stand as you are able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on our agenda is citizens' comments. We have 3 folks who have signed up this evening. Please come and identify yourself and give your address. Called up. We'll start with Biff Bear. Biff? Oh, all right. Biff is giving the first position over to Katie.
Good evening, Katie Hoppenrath, Katiehoppenrath. I own Al's Pizza at 28 West, 247 Warrenville Road. I'm also co-owner of 28 West, 247 Warrenville Road. I just want to reread the letter that was entered on the June 20th meeting. I realize I got 3 minutes, but I'm speaking on 4 people, and I could do it in about 5.5.
You got it.
Okay, thank you so much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we, the undersigned property owners, altogether and unequivocally object to having our properties, as listed below, included in the City of Warrenville's proposed zoning code update, otherwise referred to as Warrenville by Design, or the quote mixed use and middle housing overlay, end quote, referred to as the quote overlay, end quote. We ask that a copy of this letter be included into the permanent public record of the applicable public hearing scheduled for tonight, July 15th of 2024. We believe the City Council has the discretion and power to make motions and recommendations to the mayor. Therefore, we request the City Council approve a motion excluding our properties from the overlay. Our reasoning is twofold. The first reason is personal, and the second is more related to the overlay itself. First, we have been a part of the City of Warrenville's ongoing legacy and success well before the city's incorporation. As a long-term family and successor owners, as well as individuals who have continued family businesses, we have not read or heard any useful reason why our property should be included in the overlay. Everything we've read is about what the city wants to impose on us, regardless of our needs and how we've helped Warrenville prosper. In the overview section of the proposed overlay zoning, the document refers to the city's intent to implement its vision by, quote, fostering development and revitalization projects that enhance the small-town character and scale of Warrenville, end quote, and, quote, establishing high-quality, mixed-use gateways to historic Warrenville with sustainable, long-lasting buildings, end quote. These 2 sentences refer to Warrenville's, quote, small-town character, end quote, and, quote, gateways to the historic Warrenville, end quote. We helped create and maintain Warrenville's small-town character and history. Nowhere in the document is there any reference to the importance and value of actually preserving Warrenville's character and history. In our opinion, the overlay district is actually a tear-down district that seeks to wipe out all historic buildings and businesses. A new Warrenville is what's actually proposed. As property owners, we don't believe that we have to explain our objection by providing a list of technical objections. Instead, as long-term property owners and in the spirit of respect for Warrenville's history, our personal objection should be sufficient reason to exclude our properties from the overlay. That said, we request that our properties be excluded from the overlay for these technical reasons as well. Here are some of our reasons. Number 1, at the May 9th public hearing, several city officials mentioned that our and other properties are, quote, grandfathered, end quote. Nowhere in the overlay could we find any reference to how this term is defined and used. We shouldn't have to rummage through more pages of Warrenville's municipal code to find applicable definitions and restrictions, all in an effort to better understand the effect and this change will have on our land. Grandfathering needs to be spelled out in detail in the overlay. The overlay must include details regarding how grandfathering will be used and interpreted based on the simplest to the more complex owner-developer request. Number 2, at the May 9th hearing, several officials were asked how various changes would be approved by the city. This brought to mind this section of the overlay. Submittals. Submittals must be provided to the zoning administrator or their designee that fully illustrate compliance with the regulations of the overlay. This section underscores another concern. The city is exercising sole discretion over the future use and design of our properties, including alterations to the existing buildings. It appears that we have lost all discretion regarding even simple changes and updates. And since the overlay is highly complex, the requirement that submittals, quote, fully illustrate compliance, end quote, is an unrealistic demand. Number 3, the overlay has taken on a new meaning regarding how Warrenville defines and treats zoning. Based on our reading of the city's current zoning code, there are very few references to the architectural design standards. However, in the case of the proposed overlay district, design standards are an obsession dictated to us in every manner, including rooftops, half stories, horizontal shadow lines, outdoor space, special paving materials and patterns, seating, building types, and facades. We believe that a potential buyer of our properties will look at these regulations and walk away. Owner and developer discretion and preferences appear to be null and void. Number 4, under the city's existing zoning code's general provisions, there is a statement, quote, to zone all the land in the city with a view to conserving property values and encouraging the most appropriate use of land throughout the city, end quote. Given everything in the overlay, how will the city conserve our property values? Because of the overlay's complex nature and the absence of the developer/owner discretion, we see a devaluation of our property. The city appears to be defining the criteria for determining the highest and best use of our land. While zoning is always an important factor in determining land and use value, what should not happen, but is happening under the city's proposal, is that the city unilaterally influencing market conditions, like the absolute architectural conditions. Number 5, the draft document discusses nonconformities regarding existing buildings. It reads, quote, see Article 6, nonconformities of the zoning ordinance for the buildings constructed and lots established prior to the adoption of these regulations that do not conform to these regulations, end quote. For us, this section presents grave concerns. The city's very detailed focus on nonconformities indicates that many of our businesses are no longer respected or wanted in Warrenville, which has created a great deal of business and personal stress. Number 6, at the prior public hearing, several officials discussed what would happen if a non-conforming building remained vacant for 6 months or became uninhabitable. If understood correctly, the officials said the property would automatically be subject to the overlay regulations. Regardless of how long Warrenville's 6-month provision has been in place, we find it egregious. Since the proposed overlay was not part of Warrenville's existing zoning code, because it didn't exist when the city approved past special uses and conditions, the overlay should not be the default zoning for these properties under these conditions. If anything, the property should revert to the historical underlying zoning, not something that is new and was previously unknown. Number 7, overall, we find the proposed zoning changes confusing, a serious burden on property owners, and impossible to explain to prospective tenants or owners. At the prior public hearing, a representative of a different property stated that the new regulations would result in the loss of a buyer for the property he represented. As we all know, in a competitive market, the ability to sell and redevelop property has many challenges. Adding additional zoning and architectural design standards will prevent Warrenville from achieving its vision for these properties and absolutely prevent us from selling the property at market value. We believe that the overlay will absolutely result in a substantial loss in property values and scant development opportunities. The scope of the overlay indicates that the owners and developers must only do what the city wants. The overlay is telling us to curb our ideas and market skills. While there are other matters that we could raise, we believe this letter sufficiently explains our reasons for not being included in the overlay. Thank you. The following businesses have signed: the Bear Building LLC, Biff Bear; J.H. Bolwig Building Partnership, that's John and Jeff Bolwig; Lynn's Corner Partnership is myself and Lynn Burgess, which is Al's Pizza in the Town Tap. And then also Votel's Auto Service, that is Joe and Charles Votel. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Katie. Biff?
Hi, I'm Biff Bear, B-I-F-F, B-E-H-R. I'm member manager of Bear Building LLC, 28W265 Warrenville Road. I want to throw a little bit of history onto this downzoning to B2. This first began in 1984. I quote the Warrenville Digest, July 17th, when Mayor Volkmer said, "There are going to be changes announced in the zoning. However, there's going to be some substantial changes in certain specific properties and downzoning to business zoning." That was defeated. The village attorney suggested they not move forward with it. The next thing I want to bring up is the next time this thing raised its ugly head was in Warrenville Digest, November 24th, 1988. Mayor Lund, at that point in time, said, and I quote, "The plan calls for a small shopping center to replace the existing Bear Building and adjacent stores. This development would eliminate some businesses now standing, but those businesses could relocate." For those of you who have a little bit of history on this, for a long time there was a Faust project trying to connect River Road with Warrenville Road, with Batavia Road, that was defeated. After that, there was a traffic circle concept that would go in there, and that was also defeated. I don't understand why we have a target. Why am of my building the target of all these changes? We don't want the zoning to change. The U.S. Supreme Court went out in make that June 10th of 1987 and said that downzoning without the property owner's permission constitutes a take under the U.S. Constitution and requires reimbursement and restoration. I don't get how this is a benefit to us. We're the same families that objected to this in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. It's the same family group. It's the Boeing family, it's the Town Tap Group, Al's Pizza, and Bear Building. We haven't changed. We've just gotten older. And you haven't changed. You're still bringing up this B2 zoning. That's a significant downgrade. I asked Amy, the property across the street was the gas station, is in this overlay district. And it should be. But I asked her if someone wanted to come in and develop it, can they build anything in B4? And she said, no, it's all B2. So in my opinion, that zoning's just changed. That's no longer zone B4, it's now B2. And the same thing will happen to our buildings. There's been no effort to try and incorporate these buildings into the plan. These are old buildings. I mean, mine was started being built in 22, served as the first fire station for Warrenville. I mean, this stuff should be incorporated in the plan. In absence of that, we think the boundary should be Warrenville Road, and the property south of Warrenville Road should be taken out of the overlay district. That doesn't prevent a developer from coming in and getting into the overlay district, and I'm sure everybody would approve that in a heartbeat if someone came in and wanted to do that. But we'd like to leave our options open on stuff, and no one can define for me what grandfathered means. Apparently, it's going to be a decision of staff when a request comes in. And that seems pretty arbitrary to me. So I thank you for your time. I hope I didn't bore you with a little bit of history, but it's been going on for a long time. And personally, I'm really tired of this fight. I'd really like it to just get put to bed once and for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Biff. Bob Siebert?
Bob Siebert, Albright Court. Last Friday, the city of Warrenville lost a good friend. Ray Kimber passed away. Ray came to Warrenville 62 years ago because a young lady named Kathy stole his heart. We will all miss Ray. It has been stated that political officials can be divided into two groups. The first group, those individuals that search for the truth. The second group, those individuals that hide from the truth. I will give an example. About 7 years ago, I received a call from Dan Cronin, then the DuPage County Board Chairman. He asked me to come to a meeting at his office. The other individuals to be there were the DuPage County Clerk, the DuPage County Treasurer, the state's attorney, the board members from District 6, and the financial staff from the county, and City of Warrenville representatives. When I arrived at the meeting, I was met by Dan Cronin. Dan said, the City of Warrenville decided not to come. But he said he had his people analyze the information and data, and he said I should be happy because they determined that I was correct. I looked at Dan and I replied, how can I be happy when my fellow taxpayers are receiving a hidden tax?
Thank you, Bob. We'll go on to official and staff comments. I have nothing to add this evening. Clerk?
Sorry, I have something I have to read. The Illinois State Board of Elections released its abbreviated calendar for the dates for the 2025 consolidated primary election and the 2025 consolidated election. The calendar includes changes to municipal petition circulation and filing periods made recent public acts. The calendar can be found at elections.il.gov. Petition circulation will begin August 20th for the consolidated election to be held on April 1st, 2025. The first day to file candidate petitions will be November 12th, 2024. The last day will be November 18th. Petition packets for city offices will be available at City Hall and on the website August 20th. Candidates or others who have questions about the consolidated elections should contact ISBE at 217-782-4141 or their local election official.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer? Okay, Alderman. Julie?
I attended a Summer Days Committee meeting this morning, and they're still looking for some volunteers for the beer tent. They have a few slots still open, so just want to remind everyone of that if you are able to help out. It's August 2nd and August 3rd. Thank you.
And don't forget the bonus that for 3 days afterwards, you smell like beer. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the city administrator and city attorney. Okay, on to the business of the meeting then. Could we have a motion to approve the agenda for this evening? Alderman Widener?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the agenda for the July 15th, 2024 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
In a second, any discussion? Okay, the motion approves the agenda as presented. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This is why we have an attorney here. We have some minutes that need approval also. Alderman Widener?
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2024 City Council regular meeting, to approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2024 City Council closed session meeting number 1, to approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2024 City Council closed session meeting number 2, to approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2024 City Council closed session meeting number 3, and finally to approve the minutes of the July 8th, 2024 Community Development Committee meeting.
Second.
Second again by Alderman Davalos. Any comments or questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved as presented. The consent agenda for this evening. 6A, accept Community Development Committee recommendation, waive second reading and pass ordinance 02024-31, approving easement agreements for public right-of-way improvements along Batavia Road. B, accept Community Development Committee recommendation, waive second reading and pass ordinance 02024-32, amending sections 5-3-9 of the Warrenville City Code regarding parking on Winchester Circle. C, accept Community Development Committee recommendation and pass resolution R2024-43, approving the agreement with the Winchester Condominium Association regarding parking within the Winchester Circle. D, accept Community Development Committee recommendation and pass resolution R2024-44, authorizing Mayor Brummel to execute the letter of understanding regarding the transfer of Cerny Park to the Warrenville Park District. E, accept the staff recommendation and pass resolution R2024-45, amending the trust number 115 retirement healthcare funding plan to include a new Class 4 for Public Works members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 701 Trust 115 plan. F, accept staff recommendation and pass resolution R2024-46, amending the Granicus agreement to include amendment number 2 for additional citizen engagement app functionality. G, accept Community Development Committee recommendation and adopt the 2024 strategic plan framework and direct staff to develop action items for each strategic priority identified. H, accept the Plan Commission recommendation and direct staff to work with the city attorney to prepare an ordinance approving the zoning ordinance text and zoning district map amendments to establish and apply a new Warrenville by Design mixed-use and middle housing overlay district. I, receive and file draft minutes of the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting held on June 20th, 2024. J, receive and file report of invoices paid up to July 10th, 2024 in the amount of $63,258.80. K, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before August 5th, 2024 in the amount of $153,264.58. And L, receive and file report of Chase Commercial Card expenditures for the month of June 2024 in the amount of $18,407.25. Alderman Widener.
I move to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor David Brummel.
Second.
Motion and a second. May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Lockett.
Aye.
Alderman Wilkie.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Krokenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Augustinovich.
Aye.
Motion carries, and the agenda is approved as presented. Our regular agenda has one item. Would someone please make the motion? Alderman Lockett, you made eye contact. Big mistake on your part.
It was. I'd like to make a motion to accept staff recommendation and authorize Mayor Brummel and City Administrator White to execute the necessary documents for participation in a purchasing card program through Fifth Third Bank.
Second.
Motion and a second, and a little bit of explanation from my finance director. Kevin, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a part of our ERP implementation, we are recommending that we move to a purchasing card program, or what's referred to as P cards. It allows for greater functionality as far as reporting for any purchases that are made. It also offers for a high degree of accountability so that we can tailor what somebody's able to buy by how we provide approvals for their given card based on their position in their given department and what their authorized purchasing levels are. In order to accomplish that, one of the early steps is to complete paperwork that Fifth Third Bank requires for us to initiate that program. And for tonight, on the recommendation from the attorney, we are asking that the city council authorize the mayor and the city administrator to execute the necessary documents.
Okay, questions for Kevin? All right, seeing none. Oh, Alderman Berry.
Thank you. So this program will replace the Chase commercial cards that we've normally been using, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And so we will have accounts both at the Chase Bank and at the Fifth Third. Do we have that now? I can't remember.
Well, we have accounts at numerous banks not tied to credit cards. We currently only have a credit card program with Chase.
Okay, so those cards will then be eliminated.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Roll call? Okay. We're going to do a roll call.
Alderman Widener,
Aye.
Alderman Lockett,
Aye.
Alderman Berry,
Aye.
Alderman Davalos,
Aye.
Alderman Wilkie,
Aye.
Alderman Augustinovich,
Aye.
and Alderman Krokenberg.
Aye. Motion carries. We have nothing under unfinished business, no new business listed. We do not need a closed session this evening. We do need, however, one more motion. Alderman Lockett.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you so much for your attention and your attendance.
This conference is no longer being recorded.